The Language We All Speak by Aubrey Kreutzer, Hannah Roehr, and Ray Spawn. Unspoken language is also referred to as nonverbal communication. It is all around us, and everyone around the world speaks it. But what exactly are examples and types of unspoken language? Body language is a type of unspoken language. Like this cat, you can tell that it is unhappy through its facial expressions. It did not have to say anything for you to tell. But with this cat, it looks happy because of its smile and perked ears. Body language can also be represented through modulations of voice, personal appearance, posture, gestures, facial expression, and eye contact. In this next clip, Amy Cuddy presents some interesting facts about body language in her TED Talk called Your Body Language Shapes Who You Are.
So I want to start by offering you a free, no-tech life hack. And all it requires of you is this, that you change your posture for 2 minutes. But before I give it away, I want to ask you to right now do a little audit of your body and what you're doing with your body. So how many of you are sort of making yourselves smaller? Maybe you're hunching, crossing your legs, maybe wrapping your ankles. Sometimes we hold on to our arms like this. Sometimes we spread out. I see you. So I want you to pay attention to what you're doing right now. We're going to come back to that in a few minutes, and I'm hoping that if you sort of learn to tweak this a little bit, it could significantly change the way your life unfolds. So we're really fascinated with body language, and we're particularly interested in other people's body language. You know, we're interested in, like, you know, an awkward interaction, or a smile, or a contemptuous glance, or maybe a very awkward wink, or maybe even something like a handshake.
Here they are arriving at number 10, and look at this lucky policeman gets to shake hands with the President of the United States. Oh, and here comes the Prime Minister of the... No.
So a handshake, or the lack of a handshake, can have us talking for weeks and weeks and weeks, even the BBC and the New York Times.
In The Alchemist, Santiago, the main character, is a shepherd that travels through the land of Andalusia. He decides to follow his dreams and travel to the Great Pyramids. Along the way, he meets some interesting people and the love of his life. When he meets the love of his life, Fatima, it is mentioned like this. When he looked into her dark eyes and saw that her lips were poised between a laugh and silence, and he learned the most important part of the language that all the world spoke, the language that everyone on earth was capable of understanding in their heart. The next type of unspoken language is aesthetic communication. Aesthetic communication occurs through creative expression. Like this painting, it looks depressing because of the dark colors and setting. There is no verbal communication in this painting, but you can still interpret the dark feelings being represented. In this painting, it attracts the eye because of the bright colors and gives off a positive feeling. Aesthetic communication can also be represented through dance, music, and any other forms of art. Signs and symbols are another type of unspoken communication. Signs and symbols can be used for religious or status purposes, as well as to raise self-esteem. This includes cars, jewelry, and clothes that can also communicate social status. In The Alchemist, Santiago looks at omens, which are signs from a higher power to decide his fate. For example, when Santiago saw 2 hawks fighting, he took it as a sign as an army to come. As written in The Alchemist, suddenly one of the hawks made a flashing dive through the sky, attacking the other. As it did so, a sudden fleeting image came to the boy, an army with its swords at the ready, riding into the oasis. The vision vanished immediately, but it had shaken him. He had heard people speak of mirages and had already seen them himself. They were desires that, because of their intensity, materialized over the sands of the desert, but he certainly didn't desire that an army invade the oasis. This was not the only omen described in The Alchemist. Unspoken language is more common and informational than verbal communication itself. With all of the different types, including body language, aesthetic communication, symbols, and signs, there is no wonder that unspoken language is accounted for 93% of all communication. Examples include body language, gestures, tone of voice, and pauses. Nonverbal communication is one of the key aspects of communication, especially in a high-context culture such as Asia or Africa. According to an ancient proverbs, actions speak louder than words. Presentation by Aubrey Kreutzer, Hannah Roehr, and Ray Spawn. Thanks to Amy Cuddy and Miss Shibley.